I'm Shirley Wang, the Guzheng teacher of Harmony Guzheng Ensemble. First of all, on behalf of Harmony Guzheng Ensemble, I would like to thank to COVID-19 Volunteers Group and Mei Han for providing us this opportunity to showcase, to introduce Guzheng, so let everybody knows more about Guzheng, and then when they listen to the Guzheng music in the future, they will enjoy more. And this workshop will be conducted by a team of young members of Harmony Guzheng Ensemble. Okay, please enjoy this presentation. And now I pass on to Sylvia. She's going to host tonight's program. Okay, yeah.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so we are going to officially start off with this program. So today I'm going to be the host of this program. As Shirley said, I'm Sylvia, and I'm also a member of the Harmony Guzheng Ensemble. So throughout this workshop, we're going to introduce the guzheng to you slowly. So the history of the instrument, some of the techniques that go behind it, and then a lot of our young members will come and show you what they've got and then what they want to share with you as well. So let's get started. The first one that comes on is by Sydney and Christian. Unfortunately, they can't be here in person today, but they have sent us a very good video on introducing the guzheng, so some of the history of the guzheng, and also some of the experiences, and also the basics.
Thank you, Sylvia. Hello, everyone. My name is Christian, and this is my sister, Sydney. Please stay with us as we will walk through the brief history of the guzheng along with the basic scale and music notes. But before we start, we would like to share our first experiences of the guzheng. The first time when my parents and I watched the comedy called Kung Fu Hustle, I thought the guzheng was cool and funny at the same time. Here's a clip of the show. Who would have thought this instrument that can produce such pretty sounds can be used as a deadly weapon? What about you, Sydney?
Like a lot of moms out there, our mom watches a lot of Chinese drama. You know those Chinese dramas that are set in ancient China? They start with a theme song or music that really draws you in with the beautiful sound of the zither. Like this one. The more I listened to the music, the more I liked it, so I was determined to learn and make my mom happy. Okay, enough with our experiences. Let's get into what you really want to hear, the history of the guzheng.
Guzheng is a traditional Chinese plucked zither, often referred to as Chinese harp or Chinese piano. Guzheng literally translates to ancient in Chinese. The guzheng has a proud 2,500-year-old history, with the earliest records of the guzheng found in the Warring States period, which is 475 to 221 BC. But it only became more prominent during China's first dynasty, known as the Qin dynasty, dating from 221 to 206 BC. The musical instrument later became the most widely played instrument in China, which spread and inspired similar instruments in other countries like South Korea and Japan.
The guzheng has gone through many changes during its long history. It came in different sizes, and the strings were once made of silk and later bare wire, such as brass. The modern versions are steel-coated in nylon. The earliest guzheng instrument had 12 strings, which gradually increased over the time to 21 strings. These strings were stretched over a movable bridge across the top of a large hollow wooden cavity.
The modern guzheng was redesigned in the early 1960s by Professor Wang from the Shanghai Conservatory of Music. The modern version is 160 centimeters long and has 21 strings. The redesign allowed the instrument to emit sounds similar to a piano. and also allows for a broader range of sounds that can be created with subtle changes in the pressure applied to the strings. The instrument is so versatile that the traditional Chinese folk song and even popular Western songs sound fantastic. Here's an example of a popular traditional song that all Guzheng students learn at some point. We learned this song in our first year.
The Fisherman's Song is a nice classic piece, but our favorite tunes are the more modern songs like See You Again. We also have played fun Chinese songs like The Little Apple at our last concert.
There has been an increasing popularity in traditional instruments such as the guzheng due to the growing pride of Chinese culture, and of course, it makes beautiful sounds. We personally started learning how to play the guzheng for over 3 years now, and we enjoy being part of the Harmony Guzheng Ensemble because we get to participate in events like this and share the stage with our friends. The best part of being in a group is that if you make mistakes, no one will notice.
Now that we know a bit about the history, let's turn our attention to the scale and the music notes. The guzheng is generally tuned in the pentatonic major scale. The pentatonic major scale is a scale where an octave has only 5 notes, D, E, F sharp, A, B, which corresponds to Do, Re, Mi, So, La. With 21 strings, the instrument covers 4 octaves.
Here is a quick overview of the notes. This is Do or D. This is Re or E. This is Mi or F sharp. This is So or A. This is La or B. These notes correspond to 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. These 5 strings make 1 octave. Sydney referred to the guzheng having 4 octaves. Let me show you. This is the first octave. This is the second octave. This is the third octave. And this is the 4th octave. Once you know these basic notes and octaves, you are ready to master the guzheng.
Okay, that concludes our part. Thanks for hanging out with us. We think learning the guzheng is pretty neat, so please stick around to hear from our Harmony Guzheng friends.
Thank you, Sydney, and thank you, Christian, for sending us that video. And no, Christian, if you make a mistake, we know in a group. Even if you're in a group, we know. Okay, so next up, we've got Caroline and Eric that's going to come up and show you some of the basic techniques that we use to play the guzheng. You guys ready?
Hi. So in the basic skills, you have the middle finger, which is go, and the pointer finger is, and then the thumb is to.
Go to mo to, right?
So what do you think of, when did you learn this basic skill? I learned it when I was about 7.
You just started learning guzheng back then, right?
Yeah.
And do you think the go to mo to, is it used everywhere? You think in a song it's used everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Did you have
How long did you spend playing the practice song for 沟通摩托 to learn it?
About 2 weeks.
2 weeks? That's pretty good. That's nice. Did you practice every day?
Yeah.
Sure? Okay, I believe you. I didn't practice every day back then, so it took me more than 2 weeks to get that right. So I also know that you got a little demo for us, right? To like demonstrate the 沟通摩托.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, I will help you share that.
That was great, Caroline. So this is a very basic technique that all of the guzheng pretty much use in every single song. And what Caroline showed us there is something that we play every day to get our basics right. Because without the skills, this is the kind of like the fundamental in which every other skills that you're going to see in later on this video, it kind of depends on it. So every single day to get the guzheng right, we play this skill. Right, Caroline?
Yeah.
You also got another demo where we use the skills in a song, right? What's the name of the song? Yeah, 大鱼. Do you know where that song is from? So that song, The Big Fish, it's going to, and what kind of skills are you showing in that song?
It's the small grab and big grab.
How do you play that? Do you want to try to explain that?
The small grab, you use these 2 fingers, and the big grab, you use these 2 fingers.
Yeah, that is correct. So the small grab and big grab is a technique that we use in guzheng. It's a combination of the 沟通摩托. So then we played for the small grabs, it is your thumb and your index fingers making little small grabs. And then for the big grab, it's your thumb and your middle finger making bigger grabs, right? These are some of the techniques that we used when we will try to put some emphasis on the songs to make notes louder, right?
Hi, I am Eric. Those were the basic skills of the zither. Now we also have to use both hands for the zither, the left being the harmonic chord and the right being the main melody. Now it is much harder with both hands because if you don't do it at the same time, the whole song could be ruined. You would have to learn to have better control over your left and right using them at the same time. This is a very important part of the zither.
I get the screen going. What's the demo that you're going to play?
Is the Kongding love song.
Nice. Thank you, Eric, for that demonstration. How long did it take for you to practice that song?
Oh, I've been practicing it for a few months now for the test.
Right. What grade?
Grade 4.
That is very nice. Just a few months, you can get there. That's pretty good. Let me tell you a secret. I cried when I practiced the song back then. So, but yeah, so getting the two hands, I don't have that much coordination between my right and left, so that was a little bit hard on your part. But if you can get there with like just a few months, kudos to you. Yeah. All right. So next up, so Eric and Caroline have showed us. Eric and Caroline have showed us the basic skills of the guzheng, so some of the small grabs, the big grabs, and also the two hands coordinations. So now, next up, we've got Vanessa that's going to show us a little bit more of like the unique skills that you can sometimes hear on the guzheng, a lot of those very unique Chinese authentic sounds and how we produce those sounds. So Vanessa?
So my name is Vanessa, and I'm going to be showing you some more techniques. So the first one I'm going to show you is called Yao Zhi. So it's basically where you put your pointer and thumb together, kind of like the Korean heart shape, and you move them back and forth very quickly and like for a pretty long time, depending on how long your note is. So I'm going to demonstrate. So like moving it back and forth to cause a vibration. Okay, so next I'm gonna be showing you guys some left hand techniques. So the first one I'm gonna show you is called Chen Ying. It's basically where you take your left hand and you move your you move your hand through the power of your wrist to vibrate the string, I guess. So when you pluck it, it goes like. So if you hear it, the sound is like that. So the reason why it's like that is because when you press down, it tightens the string, which sends the pitch higher. Okay, so that was Chen Ying. And now I'm gonna be telling you about Dian Ying. What Dian Ying is like you press down very fast, like press, and like, so it's the same logic as before. When you press down, it sends the pitch higher, so it creates this sound, and then you release quickly so it bounces back to its original form. Okay, and the next one I'm gonna be telling you about is the up and down portamentos. So first, what a portamento is like the slide between two notes. So what is the up portamento? So basically it's where you start from the top and slowly press down. I'm not sure if you can see, but like you kind of like press down into the string. So like it will sound like, since you slowly tighten the string, so the pitch of the music will slowly go higher. Well, meanwhile, as the down portamento, it starts from the bottom and slowly comes up. It rises up. So it creates like the opposite effect. And the last left-hand technique I'm gonna be telling you is called anying. It's basically where you hold the string down the entire time to make it a higher pitch. So I'm gonna be playing two notes here, and so there's this one, and there's this one. So sorry, that was a little bad, but as you can tell, the second one, it was using the anying effect to make it kind of sound like the first. So it adds the little twist to it to make it sound better or like different than the usual notes. And that's all I have for today.
Thank you, Vanessa. So I know you also got a demo video for us, so I'm going to pull that up for you because I'm phoning up all of these demo videos. They're all pre-recorded. We're not doing it live because one thing that the COVID-19 have taught us is that the guzheng doesn't sound very good when we play it live.
Okay, so now I'm back with two demonstration pieces. The first demonstration piece is a part of a song called 全全小, and the part I'm going to be playing for you consists mostly of the 摇指 technique that I taught you guys before, where you put your thumb and your pointer together and move them very quickly back and forth. And then the second part demonstration I'm going to show you is a part of the song 寒鸦戏水. It consists of many of the left-hand techniques that I showed you guys before, like 点音, 颤音, 上滑音, 下滑音, and all those good stuff. So I'm gonna start with the 摇指 part of this demonstration. Part of our demonstration, and now I'm going to be playing the intro of 寒鸦戏水. Demonstrations today. So remember, today I taught you the 摇指 technique and many left-hand techniques like 上滑音, 下滑音, 颤音, and 点音. So yeah.
Alright, so I know those songs are grade 8 songs. Are you preparing for grade 8 this year? Yeah? Nice. For those of you, just a little bit background information for the guzheng, we also have exams. So much like the very famous Royal Conservatory exams for a lot of the Western instruments like piano and the violin. We also get exams from the Chinese Central Conservatory of Music. So these exams, they ranges from grade 1 to grade 10. Grade 10 being the highest level there is. So once you pass grade 10, it's kind of like an indication you're certified to be a performer of the guzheng. So Vanessa, given young age, is already preparing for grade 8 exams this year. So good job. You can do it. Good luck. So next up, we've got Harper that's going to come up and show you even more techniques. So these are the techniques that make the guzhengs. A lot of the note sounds very fast. So these are the 16th note techniques. Some of them involve one hand playing, some of them two hands. They are the more advanced techniques that actually evolved out of the guzheng for a lot of the contemporary music that comes up.
The 16th note, which is very common in most songs, but you pretty much won't get to it until probably 4th or 5th grade because it's really fast and it's a bit hard to get used to and master it. What is the 16th note? The 16th note is basically, I'll be showing you with the Western way of writing it because I feel like it's simpler. This is 4 notes, and when you divide it into 2, it becomes 2 notes. then just one note. When you continue the progress 2 times, you'll get the 16th note, which is the 1/16 of the 4 notes. And when the beat has 4 notes, each note is called the 16th note. In the third, the 4 notes have 2 lines under them like this. And when you compare the Western way and the Chinese way, they're a bit similar because they both have 2 lines over here, but they're in different positions. And even if they're called the 16th notes, there are a lot of ways to play it, and I will be showing you some of them. I have 5 over here. It is water flow, crossover, 2 reach outs, and the ice melt. The water flow is the simplest and most common technique in songs. They are very simple. And the crossover, also called the crisscross, have 2 ways to play it. The 2 techniques are called the water flow and the crossover. First, the water flow has 2 versions. The first goes from here to here. The second goes backwards like this. The first version goes from your ring finger all the way to your thumb. So you go ring finger, middle finger, index finger, and then thumb. When you put it together, it sounds like this. The second version is just turning all your fingers backwards, like this. Your thumb, index finger, middle finger, and then your ring finger. It sounds like this. When you speed both up, it sounds like this. And the second version. Both techniques, you'll end up playing all the strings in one note, which doesn't sound as pleasant as a normal one. So basically, the fastest you would get is like this. Now, the second technique, the crossover, is a bit harder than the first one, but it's pretty basic too. There are 2 ways people play it, but either way, it sounds the same. The usual one that I use is like this. First, you go from your index finger to the thumb, back, and then to the middle finger. The second way to play it only uses the index finger and the thumb. The only difference is that you replace your middle finger with the thumb, like this. And all of them sound like this. I like to use this one better because when you get faster and faster, the second way usually messes you up. But it's only my preference. If you like the second one better, it's also okay. Okay, so that was the first 2, and now let's go to the third one. The second song that I'm demonstrating with is called Horse Racer. It captures a really fast beat and is loved by it. Horses run really fast, so we really have to practice a lot to get the right note and the right speed. In this song, I'm going to show you the technique called middle finger reach. here goes. First, I want to make sure that you know I use both hands for this. First, you take your right hand and play a note. And of course, with your middle finger, because that's the one that reaches out. Now, down here, you play 3 notes with your index fingers. First, start with your left hand. It sounds like this when you put it together. When you get faster, there is another version of middle finger reach out where you reach out 1 time further. You won't be able to need it until you get to at least 5th grade, but I'm going to show you it anyways. First, you reach out, but because that you have to come back really fast, you won't be playing a note like this. But you'll be playing a note like this. Basically, you just do that. Make sure that you're in the spot or around the spot that you're supposed to play, or else it sounds like this. And it doesn't sound that good. Lastly, I'll play a few seconds of the song for you so that you get the hang of it. And that's all I'll show you for this song. And now let's move on to the next one.
Now, the second last one, which is also a reach out, but you reach out with your index finger.
Next technique is the index finger reach out, and the song that I will be demonstrating with is called General in Command. Now, I will be using my left hand to demonstrate because in the song I only uses it with my left hand. It's like this. Index finger and your thumb play on the same string. Then reach out with your index finger. But your thumb remains in the same place. It sounds like this. When you get faster and faster,
Okay, now let's move on to the last one.
the second last song and technique is called the water drop. It is from Spring Comes to Himalayas and sounds like water dripping as ice are melting. It sounds like this. You want to play it really beautifully so that it actually sounds like water. And now I'll show you how to play it. This technique also uses 2
your right hand thumb and play a note. And then the rest is up to your left hand. You use just 3 fingers on your left hand, which is the thumb, the index finger, and also the middle finger. Now, let's get into it. There are hundreds and thousands of choices for strings that you can choose for this technique. I won't be showing you all of them today, but I do have to tell you that when you put them together, it sounds really beautiful. For me, I practiced a lot for this song, and you really have to get the feeling first before you play. Or else when you're really mad, you won't play it, because your feeling is just not with the music that you're playing. And I'm just going to add here that when I play, I usually go with my tempo. When I'm angry, I play something really, really fast. And when I'm like really sad or happy, I play something really soft like this one.
Okay, so that's all for techniques. Now I'll be showing them all together. I don't have a video for this, but you can listen here. Okay, now that's on repeat. And last thing, it is really hard to get the right note and the right speed for each or many of the 16th note techniques and songs. But all I've got to say is never give up, because learning is about making mistakes and learning from your mistakes. You might have a fail board, and if you decided to do a dress together but end up trying 4 times and hurting your finger, it's still okay. Chances are your first couple attempts won't be super amazing, but still never give up. You'll get it someday. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Harper. That was very nice. Thank you for sharing your insights with us as well in terms of your experience in learning the guzheng. And yes, never give up, because everything's about perseverance and determination. If you're determined to get there, you will get there. So one thing that is actually going to be very interesting that has stems out of all of like our younger people, when they talk about techniques, a lot of the advanced techniques, they actually evolved out of the simple techniques like the plucking, right? A lot of the 16 notes we're plucking it. And then also some of as you will see later on for the even more advanced techniques, they come out of like the very fast shaking that Vanessa have demonstrated. So a lot of our guzheng, really the techniques on the guzheng is all stemming out from these basic techniques, and then from your left hand, right hand coordination of these techniques, and then put them down into the very, very beautiful songs. So next we will have Caitlin. She's also not here with us today in person, but she had prepared for us a very nice video that's going to show you some of the advanced techniques I was talking about in terms of the very fast shaking and some of the very unique sounds that the guzheng can make that you never thought that it could make.
And I'm very thankful to be here today to be a part of this workshop. I would just like to thank all the volunteers and people who made this event happen. Today, I will be focusing on most of the technical aspects of guzheng. The first few techniques I'll be showing you are from the song Fighting the Typhoon. The first technique I will be showing you is called Advanced Shaking Hands, or So-You. This technique is one of the newest and hardest techniques of guzheng. As we all know, the guzheng is a very old instrument, and in the past we used strings made of deer tendon, and deer tendon is a very fragile material. So we would use these strings and it would not be strong enough to support the action. Nowadays, we use steel strings, and because they're a lot sturdier, we are able to perform this technique. Most students do not learn this technique until grade 7, and in grade 7, we perform the song Fighting the Typhoon. We do not teach the skill at a young age because it is a very tiring and difficult skill to accomplish. This skill works by playing a yuji. To play the yuji, you'll take your index finger and your thumb finger and you'll play the string sideways and play really quickly. And then while you're doing that, you're gonna use your middle finger and your ring finger to pull the strings that are nearest in creating a very loud sound, just like this. The next skill I will present is called the scratch. The scratch was created to simulate the sound of wind and a storm. This is why this technique is perfect for the song Fighting the Typhoon. To execute this skill, you'll be taking your left pointer finger and thumb, and you'll be placing it on a string of your choice. With your right hand, you're going to take your index and your thumb and play a yaozi. And then you'll slide your left hand up and down the string, and it'll create a storm effect, just like this. This next technique is called Waterfall with the Bang. I'll be presenting this skill with the song Dance of Yao. Waterfall with the Bang is when you play every single string of the guzheng, and while you get close to the bottom and lower notes, you strum it really hard so it creates a bang. The reason it is called Waterfall with a Bang is because the first half sounds like a waterfall, and then the next half sounds like a big bang, just like this. The next skill I'll be presenting is called K, and I will be performing this skill with the help of the song 3 and 6. 3 and 6 is a very traditional song, and there's a very specific technique called K. K is when you take your ring finger, middle finger, and index on your left hand and play on the left side of the bridge. So you'll place all 3 fingers on a string, and then with your thumb, you're going to pluck it, just like this. skill I will be teaching is called overtune. Of all of the skills that I've taught today, this one is one of the hardest to accomplish properly. It is so difficult because it takes the less amount of effort, but the most amount of skill. To execute this technique, you must place your left pinky in the exact middle of this string, in between the bridge and the end of the guzheng, where the strings end. With your right hand, you're going to pluck softly, and if done correctly, it should sound like a bird, just like this. And that concludes the part of my workshop. I hope you guys enjoyed what I taught today, and I hope you can use it in the future. Once again, I would like to thank all the people that participated in making this event happen, and I hope everyone has a great day, and enjoy the rest of the workshop. Bye!
Thank you, Caitlin, for sharing that video with us. So a lot of those skills, they're very unique to the guzheng, and you actually don't hear them in a lot of songs. So some of the more common techniques were the ones that we've shown before because of just how difficult some of these techniques are. The coordination of the hands, it's drastically very different from a lot of the basic skills that we use to play the guzheng. And one thing too that we can note on there is that Caitlin showed us four different songs. The first two with Fighting Typhoon and The Dance of Yao, they are more contemporary music, whereas the last two songs, 3-6 and also The Blossoms, they're more traditional songs. Particularly the 3-6 is a very, very old and ancient song. So you can kind of hear the different feeling of it, whereas the older songs, they use a lot of these very unique techniques to simulate a lot of the sounds that we hear in nature. Some of them actually try to simulate bells. The chamber bells that was often used for musical instruments back in the olden days. And then so the feelings is very different, whereas the more contemporary music, you can hear a lot of more of the shakings, a lot of more of the strummings, and a lot of more of the 16th notes. So these are some of the unique differences in guzheng music. Of course, there are exceptions, but generally that's a pretty good rule of thumb. So the next up we've got for you is Jessie. And she's going to actually show us a little bit on the technical side of guzheng, so in terms of scales. So as you've seen in Harper's presentation, we use number system for our music notes, 1 to 7. And Sydney and Christian have also referred to as saying that 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 referred to as D, E, F sharp, A, B in this case, in our case. But that's different from a lot of the more music we hear. Sometimes the more common ones is do, re, mi, so, la is usually C. They start with C for do, but why do we start with E? So Jessie is going to come up, and then she's going to show you why that is the case.
Good evening, my name is Jessie, and today I'm here to talk about the changing scales and notes on the guzheng. So, a brief introduction. If you remember from Kristen and Sydney's video, the guzheng has 21 strings. And sometimes, right now, you might find guzheng with 22 strings actually. But each string is tuned to a particular note. and we typically arrange 5 notes per octave, such that we have a do, re, mi, sol, la on the open strings. Most commonly, the guzheng is tuned to D major scale or G major scale. Now, I just have a little, we can show you a video on how the G major scale is like in the guzheng. That's actually one of the techniques I'm using there to change the screen that I will touch on later. But yeah, that's how the G major scale will sound like on a guzheng. As you can hear the do, re, mi, sol, la of the scale. So in Western music, there are generally 12 possible notes in an octave, but we can also do that. We're not limited to our 21 strings because we can change the notes to achieve different scales using a couple of techniques. Here is the video of the full D major scale that we can do on the guzheng. So as you see here, I didn't do just the do, re, mi, sol, la on the open string. I was able to play do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, which would be like so D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, and the C sharp. All right, so let's talk about the techniques we use to achieve these notes on the guzheng. So we achieve these sounds by either tightening or loosening the string. And there are 3 ways that we usually do it. One would just be pressing down on the string. This is a momentary change in tension. Usually we do this if we have like a sudden like F sharp that we want to play in the song. We would just like press down on the mi string. Or sorry, if we have a sudden like G to play or a fa to play, we would press on the mi string to achieve the fa. So it's not permanent. If we want to permanently change the pitch of the string, we can open up the box and manually tighten or loosen the string as the picture in the bottom left here. This is usually done when we're tuning or changing to another scale. We wouldn't really do this if we want to do it quickly or do it in a song or kind of thing. Usually when you're tuning the guzheng before you play anything, you would open the box and do it from there. And since you're actually like tightening the string in the box, you're changing the sound permanently until you fiddle with it again. Last method is to move the bridge. As you see in the picture on the upper right. Usually this is done like when you have so if you have the D major scale and you want to change to G major scale, all you have to do is to change F sharp to G. So just one string. It's too much of a hassle to open up the box and try to like change that because sometimes you don't really know how much to turn or how much to loosen up. So we usually just move the bridge a little bit closer as the picture shows to get that G, because the rest of the notes are already of the G scale. Yeah, and then sometimes we do this when you have a song that in the middle you need to change the major. So you would like try to play something and then you would slowly move the bridges until you achieve the major that you want. So when you're playing a song, it's not very possible or elegant to open the box. So that's why we do this. And then in the last video, as if you could tell, when I was playing the G major, I was also moving the bridge to find the G note, the correct note, from the string from F sharp to G. That's how we can do it on this again. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for that presentation. So as you can see, the guzheng, we can achieve a lot of versatility in music. The most common scale, as Jessie has said, is the D major scale. So in guzheng, when we look at the music, we see the number system, which is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And then in terms of that, always correspond to us do, re, mi, sol, la. No matter what scale it is, it's always do, re, mi. But
depending on the song of the scales, we get that Do might correspond to E, that makes it the D major scale, or the Do correspond to G, which makes it a G major scale. And then we do all the techniques that Jessie have introduced to us to make the guzheng change to play those songs. And if I recall correctly, we actually, for the grade 10 of the exams, we actually changed the guzheng, the scale changes 3 times in a single song. And also, we also have to change the scales for different songs 3 times. 3 songs, 3 different scales. So changing the scales, this is some very, it's a very complex technique to understand in the guzheng, but it also allow us to achieve all different types of musics that we can play out there. So sometimes people hear is pentatonic tone, but in reality, the strings are pentatonic, but the music itself is not. So, and in here, I want to thank that was Jessie, was the last part of our presentation. And so here I would like to thank all of the students and the young members for putting all of this together. I know you guys spent a lot of time on it and you guys have done a very good job on it. So thank you for putting all of these together. And I also want to thank the COVID-19 volunteers for giving us this opportunity to share our instruments with all you out there. Hope that you, at the end, by now, you have a little bit more understanding of the guzheng. And then next time you hear the guzheng, you'll be able to pick out all of those little details that the others can't pick out. So, and we also have one more webinar coming up. It is on July 17th, as Jetty have said on the side here. So on July 17th, we will have our second session. So this session, we talked about a lot of the more basic techniques. We didn't really hear a whole song together, but on July 17th, we'll bring up some of the older recordings of some of the performance that we have done as Harmony Guzheng Ensemble, and then we'll also on the side give you some more insight into the different songs, and then how we were able to play Western style music, Chinese style music, contemporary music, traditional music, how all of these can be demonstrated on the guzheng. So I hope that you have enjoyed this webinar. Again, thank you for the COVID-19 volunteers for giving us this opportunity, and hope to see you again in our next section on July 17th. And I believe Shirley wants to say something.
Yeah. Oh, good job. It's wonderful. Thanks all of you. Yeah, next 2 weeks later, there will be 17th. We are going to show different kind of music, full piece, so you can enjoy more music. So thank you so much. I'm so proud of you. You guys do wonderful jobs. Spend a lot of time, but you learn a lot as well. And all the audience may got some ideas what about guzheng and the music styles and the techniques inside. Yeah, that's it. Enjoy the summer. Enjoy the the weather is good. And see you 2 weeks. Okay, yeah, bye-bye.